You owe us. You're single. My family took $32,300 from me. So I took back the house, the truth, and left them with nothing but silence. You're out of the family reunion, my brother stated as he ate my dinner, which I paid $32,300 for. Then get out of my house too, I screamed, canceling the mortgage and filing a fraud complaint. Congrats, you're out of the family reunion now, my brother Brandon replied, munching his sandwich as if he were providing a weather report. I still had a napkin in my hand and hadn't really sat down. I merely stood still near the kitchen table, where everyone appeared to be having a typical night. Mom lifted her shoulder. Dad didn't even look at me. He simply kept paging through his newspaper like a scenario from a boring sitcom about uninterested fathers. Chloe, my younger sister, giggled without turning away from her phone, as if she were reading from a script. "Oh, don't give us that look," she said. "You never belonged. We're just saying it out loud now." Nobody defended me. No one asked any questions. No one appeared astonished. I sat down gently, unzipped my bag, and pulled out a blue plastic folder. I placed it on the table, directly on the old stained tablecloth, right in front of their silent, smug expressions. "First page," I said, "shopping receipts from 2017. I began browsing between stores, delivery, medicine for Dad, shampoo for Mom, and dog food for the mutt who had died 2 years prior. Except for me, no one else wanted to pay for it. Paper after paper. Then the final one. A normal-sized sheet. Bold words. Size 14 font, centered. $32,300. "That's what you all like to call helping the family," I remarked softly. "Now it's just your truth." I stood up, zipped my backpack, and looked directly at Dad. "You called this a family dinner, but I'm done pretending. You will now feel it." I left. There were no slamming doors or farewell words, just gone. The following day, someone rang their doorbell. Dad opened the door and saw someone he never expected to see there. That was the moment they realized the house wasn't theirs anymore. You might be wondering why I brought receipts to a family supper. They did not inquire since, deep down, they already knew. 2 hours later, my phone vibrated. The family group chat exploded like fireworks. "Chloe. That was childish, even for you." "Mom. You have embarrassed your father." "For what? This is how grown-ups behave." Brandon said nothing, like a coward. But first, let us clarify that this was not just about one lunch. It was several years. Since 2017, I've been the backup plan. I was responsible for correcting any mistakes that occurred. Every situation is mine to handle. Every overdraft is my money. Every lie I had to swallow. And every time I consented, they only tightened their grip. When Chloe's dog fractured a leg, I paid the veterinarian $2,300. When Dad's dental work was not covered by insurance, I spent $4,100. Never received a thank you. The following week, there was only a meme about children being too soft. Who paid for the repairs when Brandon destroyed Mom's car while drunk? Not him. He didn't even have his license seized. I ordered groceries so frequently that Instacart offered me their family deal. They never thanked me. It was simply stated, "You're single. No kids. You earn more. That's what family is for." Until I eventually attempted to say no. I told Mom 2 months before the lunch that I couldn't afford to pay Chloe's rent again. She moaned as if I had offended her. "Well, you know how tough it is for your sister. If you cared, you'd see she's doing her best." She is doing her best. Chloe hadn't worked more than 4 months in 3 years. Her efforts included yoga excursions, dating apps, and a failed Etsy shop selling water bottles. 1 week later, I opened Facebook. Brandon had uploaded a photo of me holding a grocery bag at their door. The caption: "Some people bring wine to dinner. Our brother brings spreadsheets. Accountant vibes. Show some people never change." What about the comments? This is exactly what I expected. "William always counts everything. Tell him to keep track of feelings too. Betty charges for hugs." Over 50 likes. Even distant cousins got in. I didn't respond, simply saved every word. Then came the group chat trap. "We need to talk. Can you stop being dramatic?" It was just a joke. When I did not answer, they deleted me from the group, the family chats. But they had no idea what I was doing. While they were laughing at me online, I was gathering evidence, like a detective who had just discovered the weapon in the journal. Every money transfer, Zelle, Venmo, and PayPal, added up to $32,300. That number was not an estimate. It was actual mathematics. Then, I discovered something far worse. I was filing my taxes early, something they had never done before, and noticed an unusual warning on my credit report. Someone had exploited my Social Security information to co-sign on a loan. I kept checking and matching the time it occurred. It coincided with Brandon's attempt to build his ideal company, which collapsed before it was even named. What about the co-signer? That was me, Eli Turner. They forged my signature and used a false Gmail address. I froze for a second, and I wondered whether this was my fault. Maybe I made things easy for them. Maybe I taught them how to utilize me. But suddenly something within me cracked. I did not cry. I began collecting everything. I scanned the loan paperwork, printed my bank records, and preserved all receipts. I created a folder, a complete file of everything I've paid for since 2017. Screenshots from the group conversation, the Facebook post and its responses, a signed statement concerning the bogus loan, email backups, bank information, Chloe's text confessing she used my card, and a video I had forgotten about. Dad, intoxicated, told my uncle, "William is like a debit card. Quiet and full of money." I uploaded everything to the cloud, sent it to my lawyer, and waited. I didn't want to cause any harm when I brought the folder to lunch. I only wanted to protect myself. I was not coming to fight. I was presenting facts, since this was not a simple misunderstanding. This was them taking advantage of me while smiling on holidays and birthday cards. And they were about to discover what happens when the person you've walked all over creates their own exit. Mom sent me an invitation via text message. "Let's just talk, please. Just you, me, and Dad. No drama, no Chloe, no Brandon, just the main three." I consented, not because I wanted to fix things, but because I was ready to call it quits for real. We met at that posh, faux country restaurant that they like to pretend was our unique location. I arrived 10 minutes early and found a seat on the back wall, far from the door. I wanted them to be stuck this time. They arrived just on time. Mom was worn out, as if she had run out of lies. Dad was angry, as if he was already looking for a way out. We didn't order anything, including water. They sat down as if this were a judicial hearing. "We're not here to fight," Mom explained. "Then don't," I replied. Silence. Dad leaned forwards. "Okay, you made your point. What do you want? Your money back? An apology? Your name and some thank you post?" He believed this was a bargain. It was not. I took out the folder, not a copy, but the original. I placed it in front of them. "Let's take a trip down memory lane," I told myself. I opened it to the bogus loan pages. Page 24. Brandon used my name to obtain $11,500. And guess whose email address he used to pretend someone saw it? "Yours, Dad." His face transformed. He twitched. A tiny drop of sweat. Mom reached for the folder. I pulled it back. "Hold on. I'm not finished." I went to the group chat screenshots. Chloe had written that I was constantly counting money and had no emotions. She claimed I never loved this family. "You laughed at that, Mom, and said, 'He's just bitter. No one married him.'" She looked down, finally quiet, but not smug. Then I took out a USB stick. "This is from last Thanksgiving," I muttered. "It's audio from my phone when I walked out to take a call. You didn't know it was still recording." I pressed play on my laptop. Dad's voice was loud and clear. "He thinks he's better than us because of some spreadsheets. He's like a walking calculator. I'd trade him for a robot." Mom's voice. "Don't say that. He's not that bad." Then Dad again. "He's not that useful either. Once the mortgage is paid off, we won't need him." I halted the recording. Then I spoke what I had wanted to say for years. "Congrats. You're finally free. You'll never need me again, and that house you're living in." I took out another envelope. This one was sealed, stamped, and deemed official. "As of 9 a.m. today, the bank has frozen the deed. I canceled the shared ownership. The mortgage won't be auto-paid anymore." Mom gave a gasp. You took the house from us?" "No," I replied. "I let the bank take it. You've got 30 days to move out. But hey, this is what you wanted, right? To finally stand on your own." Dad slapped his hand upon the table. "You always act like you're the smartest person here, don't you? You think this makes you better than us?" That was when I grinned. Not from hatred. Not because I won. But I was finally free. Chloe entered at that exact moment. She was not invited. She did not sit down. She didn't say anything. She was just watching. I gazed at her. Are you here to admit you lied, or just to watch the fireworks? She folded her arms. This is just some made-up revenge fantasy, not real life. Then I smacked her with the truth. I took out my tablet, opened a video, and played it. Chloe is on camera, her face and voice telling Brandon, of course I lied about the rant. William never checks. He still feels bad for leaving. The next clip is a screen recording, fake communications she created, side by side with actual ones I found in the cloud. Photoshop times did not match. Then came the voice message. Chloe's voice, sliced up and manipulated to sound like I was threatening her. It was choppy, messy, and obviously artificial. I turned the volume up. Her comments rang throughout the room. Finally, the truth hit everyone. Dad stood up. Mom began crying. Chloe did not move. A quiet that only occurs when a falsehood collapses halfway through. Then somebody else strolled in. A tall man in his 30s, clean-shaven and wearing a jacket, holds a manila envelope. My lawyer. He said nothing. I just gave Dad the envelope. Inside, you'll find complete documentation of the fraudulent loan, a civil litigation notification. Mom yelled about betrayal. Dad made legal threats. Chloe screamed that I'd ruined their life. But I remained cool. No, I replied. You ruined everything. I just stopped pretending it was okay. I walked out. No hugging, no crying. Just the sound of liberation beginning. For the first time in my adult life, I did not feel horrible. I felt clear. 37 days. That's how long it took after I dropped the folder on the table for me to see them leave the house they used to call home for the final time. They didn't see it coming, because individuals like them never do. They create a universe in which guilt is a tool, and the quiet one is always rewarded. They never fathom what happens when the quiet one learns the rule and beats them at the game. That night, after dinner, I didn't sleep. I wasn't nervous. I was just planning. I brewed coffee, switched off my phone, and spent 8 hours developing a comprehensive recovery plan. Every dime I'd ever spent on them, groceries, auto repairs, doctor appointments, bills, was detailed in 4 spreadsheets, 2 timelines, and 1 main document named retrieval. Because that is what it was now. Not in retaliation, not healing, just getting back what was mine. First, I secured everything. I closed all joint accounts, restricted access to them, called every utility company, froze my credit, and contacted 3 fraud teams before lunchtime. By day 3, Chloe's phone had been disconnected. By day 5, the lights in the house had gone out. Literally. Then came the financial part. I didn't want a major lawsuit against the entire family. That's what they expected. Something messy. Instead, I proceeded one by one. I ensured that every move was legally sound. Brandon arrived first. I had the forged loan documents, the fabricated email, and even digital proof that the file originated from his IP address. He didn't even show up for court. The judge issued a default decision of $11,500. It might be withdrawn directly from his paycheck. It was easy to collect, and there was no way around it. Then came Chloe's time. I presented evidence of monetary fraud. I showed her text exchanges in which she giggled about using my card to buy groceries. Messages to a buddy in which she boasted about how easy it was to guilt me into anything. In addition, she paid off her CLA debt with my credit card. She arrived in court, crying. She replied, "I thought I could use it. He always helps me. That's just how my brother is." Then I played an audio recording of her laughing and said, "William always feels bad, even when people take advantage of him." The court issued its decision. $8,400, additional $2,000 for emotional injury. She attempted to appeal. She lost. She now also has to pay interest. Then it was time for my parents. This section was the most serious. I submitted 3 legal complaints. They betrayed their promise to pay me back. They used my money without permission, and they misled on official documents about who owned the residence. They didn't keep silent. Dad even recruited an old golf friend, a lawyer, to defend them. He attempted to convince the judge that I offered the money as a gift. But I arrived prepared. I produced my bank records, emails that clearly said that the assistance was only temporary, and a signed document in which Dad acknowledged that the transfer was only until his tax return arrived. Then came the last proof. Mom's email thanking me for rescuing the house again. The court's judgment was straightforward. $10,800 was legally legitimate, plus court costs. The ultimate sum was $33,300. I got every single dollar back, plus more. But it wasn't enough. I didn't only want my money back. I wanted to ensure that they never forgot what they did. So, 2 weeks after the last ruling, I purchased the house. Yes, it's the same house they were kicked out of. It had been taken by the bank and sold at auction, but the price had plummeted due to the legal turmoil. I paid in full. No loan means no payments. I signed the deed in a quiet bank office, free of emotion. The following day, I toured the house with the real estate agent. She continued apologizing for how damaged everything looked and for the lingering odor of fury in the air. I did not move in. I did not sell it for profit. I didn't even touch it up. I changed its mission. I transformed it into a peaceful environment for grown-ups who had been financially mistreated by their own families. 6 modest bedrooms, a tidy kitchen, and no false motivational posters. Just peace. Each person is assigned their own lockable storage space. There is no shared money. Nobody owes anyone anything. I do not promote it. I don't tell anyone it's mine. There is no sign bearing my name. But I understand what it is. A metal sign on the entrance door reads, "This home is not built on guilt." Then they began reaching out again. Not my parents or siblings. They were too proud for that. But I received messages from their friends, cousins I hardly knew, and even a former pastor who asked if I would consider giving them another chance. Chloe emailed me directly. She said that the court ruling had ruined her credit and she was now unable to rent an apartment. She wrote, "This isn't who you are. You're not a cruel person. Please, I was just desperate." I responded with 4 words. Desperation has receipts too. Brandon texted me. There's no greeting or context, just, "So what? You think you're better than us now?" I wrote back, "No, I'm just done pretending I'm worse." My parents departed the state. I only found out when a debt collector contacted me and asked if I had their new address. Apparently, they named me as the emergency contact on a fresh loan application. I laughed and said, "I don't know them." That's when everything finally made clear. Not because I received my money back, not because they lost their house, but for the first time, they saw the true me. I was not the extra son. I was not the backup plan. I was not the quiet wallet hiding in the background. I was the one who walked away, making sure the door remained shut behind me. I hadn't expected the letter. It arrived 3 months after the last payment to my account. No return name, just my name on the front, precisely like Grandpa used to write it. I opened it gently, as if defusing a bomb. Inside was one sheet of paper that had been folded 3 times. The handwriting was wobbly. It was not Dad's, it was not Mom's, but I knew it right away. It came from Chloe. She wrote, "William, you won, and I believe you. We're correct. Nonetheless, you should know something. I lied about many things, but not all of them. There's something you never knew. Something Dad kept from you because it may have devastated him. Ask Grandpa about 2001. Question him about the second account. I don't want anything. I just want to know the truth before he departs." I studied the letter for a long time. I didn't feel angry. I wasn't even curious yet. I felt uneasy. The next morning I drove to the outskirts of town, to a modest brick house with wind chimes on the porch and an old rusted grill beside the steps. Grandpa opened the door and spotted me. He replied, "I figured you'd show up eventually." We did not go inside. We never did. We sat on the porch, like we always do. I handed him the letter. He read it once, folded it up again, and did not respond. So, she finally broke. "What's this second account?" I inquired. He did not respond with words. Not right away. Instead, he stood up, strolled into the house, and returned with a shoebox. Inside were old banking records, land documents, 2 cassette recordings, a birth certificate, and a little envelope bearing my name. Dated 24 years ago. I opened it, read what it says, then read it again. Everything shifted abruptly. Margaret Turner, who I assumed was my mother, wasn't. My biological mother's name was Rachel Brooks. She died giving birth to me. My father's new wife had secretly adopted me, without drawing any notice. 2 months later, they covered everything up. They modified the documents. I paid the hospital worker to be quiet. Because Kelly had been my father's mistress. My entire life was part of his cover-up. Chloe was not my real sister. Brandon was not even aware of the truth. And me? I was the family's hidden issue. I was living proof of their lies, blood, shame, and remembrance. Grandpa glanced at me and said, "Your father didn't want to raise you. He labeled you a mistake and promised to remedy you with money. But Laura, your stepmother, treated you like you were her own child. Until she couldn't anymore." I asked him, "Why are you telling me this now?" He said, "Because you're the only one left who deserves to know it." Everything else happened fast. "What about the other account Chloe mentioned?" "It was a trust fund established in my name when I was a baby. Kelly's estate is worth more than $196,000 right now. Never touched." Growing with curiosity. Right immediately, Grandpa granted me access to it. He claimed he had been waiting till the rest of the family proved they did not deserve it. He also gave me the actual title to the vacation home, Brandon's favorite boast. Years ago my father created a false version and attempted to sell it under a phony company name. But now I had the actual legal version. Within a week, I had become the lawful owner of everything that defined their so-called legacy. The mountainside cabin, the lakefront property. And I converted the house into a secure haven. I did not gloat. I closed the door behind me. Let us finish the rest. Brandon's fortunes deteriorated after his court defeat. He attempted to create another company, a cryptocurrency hoax. Federal investigators alerted him. His ex had released his texts. He currently leases a modest room above a vape shop in Biloxi. He conducts part-time technical work for a dodgy multi-level marketing firm. He has yet to pay a single cent of the verdict. I collect it through tax returns. Every time he tries to file, I receive payment first. Chloe made an effort. She landed a job at an animal clinic. She began paying little amounts gradually. Her apology letter was not ideal, but it was real. We do not talk. But I don't dislike her anymore. Sometimes not hating someone brings the best kind of tranquility. My folks relocated to a trailer park near Needles. My dad has gout. My mother remains quiet. They performed another ruse, alleging to have medical bills in order to launch a fundraising campaign. I sent the forged deed to the contribution website. The campaign was withdrawn. Their account was banned. No police charges, just actual repercussions. As for me, I relocated again. This time to a tranquil location with fresh air. The recovery home I established now houses 7 people. People like myself were told that they owed their families everything and deserved nothing. I named it Brooks House after the mother I'd never met. Even though Mom died the day I was born, she provided me more than the people who raised me ever could. I now work for a nonprofit that assists others in their financial recovery. I specialize in family pressure and control. That's the sophisticated way of saying that people have to pay just to live in their own homes. And my final move? I sold the mountain house, which Brandon always dubbed our future inheritance. I gave the money away, every last dime, to a scholarship fund for students who no longer have contact with their families. I christened it the Spare Son Grant. I am not angry. I am not broken. But I'm done being in the quiet area where they put their version of the story. I was never their second choice. I was never the person they unintentionally remembered. I was the warning that they ignored. And now, they don't get my money. They don't catch my attention. They didn't acquire my phone number. The final thing I did was purchase a new phone. When I turned it on, I did not touch a single contact. There is no number for Mom. Dad received none. Not Chloe, not Brandon. Just one contact saved. Grandpa, with a message next to it. The only one who told me the truth. And that is the thing with truth. When you finally hear it, you cease expecting anything else.